And to be quite honest with you, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with.
The comment section was just uttered aloud by Stephen A. Smith, and the Wnba will not enjoy the at all. We've heard the murmurs for almost 2 years. We've heard tales of animosity, jealousy, and a concerted attempt to keep the biggest celebrity in women's sports out of the game. However, the recent events surrounding Nike, Travis Scott, and the Kelce brothers have completely altered the professional basketball scene. This morning, Stephen A. Smith did more than just stand up for the star of the Indiana Fever. He verified our suspicions, which we were all too scared to voice. Caitlin Clark is more than simply a basketball player these days. She is a global economy, and no amount of public relations can close the gap that has grown between her and the rest of the league. You were mistaken if you believed the initial $28 million contract the big story. That was merely a down payment on a much, much larger project. We are witnessing a financial change that could shatter the delicate environment of the Wnba. In order to comprehend why this week's news is so shocking, we must examine the incident that set it all off. Stephen A. Smith is sitting front and center, telling everyone, "I told you so." The Wnba's internal conflict was revealed in the Christmas Day commercial that went viral online. 3 days ago, Nike dropped a bomb that made the rest of the Wnba appear like a local recreational league, while families were opening presents and watching the NBA schedule. In order to promote her future trademark shoe, the Caitlin ones, which will launch in spring 2026, they developed the From Anywhere advertisement, a major cinematic advertising campaign. However, the subtleties are crucial. Take a good look at the people in that advertisement. Her Wnba colleagues weren't the ones. It wasn't women's game legends like Diana Taurasi or Cheryl Swoops. Travis Scott, a rapper, was there. The Kelce brothers were there. They were icons of world culture. Bypassing the Wnba ecosystem entirely, Nike purposefully and strategically chose to place Caitlin Clark beside pop cultural royalty. Stephen A. Smith claims that this was not a coincidence. This was a declaration. One thing is screamed by it. Caitlin Clark no longer need approval from the Wnba. Before her second season has even reached its full maturity, she has surpassed the league. Additionally, Stephen A. claims that this particular commercial represents the Wnba's elderly guard's worst nightmare. They asked her to settle her debts. She was supposed to wait her turn. Rather, Nike simply gave her the kingdom's keys and ignored everyone else. However, we must discuss the numbers in order to fully appreciate the seriousness of what Stephen A. Smith is expressing, because the jealousy stems from the finances. The league's locker rooms were already hostile when word leaked out about her initial 8-year contract. A rookie earning more in endorsements than entire team payrolls was something that players who had been working hard for 10 years had to contend with. However, fresh information from Nike headquarters indicates that the original $28 million estimate is absurdly conservative. According to insiders, the Caitlin Clark trademark shoe line alone may generate $150 million in revenue in the first 3 years. Give that some thought. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 93% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video. NBA season. It was announced that Caitlin Clark signed a massive endorsement deal with Nike. This deal was for 8 years, $28 million, with a signature sneaker included. Now, at the time, a lot of them $150 million. In comparison, the typical Wnba player earns roughly $76,000 annually. Less than $250,000 is the maximum wage. According to Stephen A. Smith, the radioactive core of the conflict we are witnessing on the court is this enormous financial gap. These days, it's more than just basketball. It's about a rookie making more money in a single sneaker drop than most players would ever see. Additionally, Stephen A. argues that human nature is unbeatable. That kind of economic disparity cannot be introduced into a competitive locker room setting without fostering disdain. Stephen A. Smith enters the conversation at this point with his most dramatic confirmation to far. He went on record this week intensifying his contentious envy storyline and making it clear that after this commercial airing, animosity toward Clark will undoubtedly soar. His reasoning is straightforward yet harsh. The veterans who played in empty gyms and flew commercial flights, as well as the women who founded this league, feel forgotten. They feel as though they put in a lot of effort, only to see a rookie enter and receive the Michael Jordan treatment. Smith cautions that last season's hard checks, physical fouls, and freezing out were merely warm-up acts. The target on her back has increased tenfold, as she is now the official face of Nike basketball regardless of gender. We need to put this aggressive Nike move in perspective. Nike is not a non-profit organization. They are a machine driven by data. They noticed the ratings. They saw the jersey sales. They watched the queues extending around the block in Indianapolis. Caitlin Clark is a unicorn, as they quickly discovered. Nike took a different approach, while the Wnba league office worked to share the marketing cash among the 12 clubs in an effort to create equity and justice. They bet everything on the star. Stephen A. Smith has been critical of the Wnba's handling of Clark's entry since day one, claiming that they fumbled the bag by attempting to stifle her fame in order to appease other players. This reveals the league's enormous strategic failure. The Wnba made an effort to be polite. Nike responded, "No, you have one megastar, and we are going to treat her like it." This difference is embarrassing for the league. They attempted to argue, "We are a league of many stars." While the NBA views her as simply another rookie who needs to get in line, Nike views her as an icon. Stephen argues that this ad demonstrates the Wnba's loss of narrative control. Caitlin has surpassed the Shield in size. You no longer require the endorsement of the league's veterans when Travis Scott co-signs you. However, let's examine the jealousy narrative that Stephen A. Smith has been promoting in more detail. Do you recall the last 2 years' controversies? Do you recall the Kennedy-Carter hip check? Do you recall the rivalry between Angel and Reese? Do you recall being left off of the Olympic squad? All of these details are connected to this precise moment by Stephen A. Smith. He contends that all of those incidents were signs of the same illness, resentment. Looking back, the Olympic snub seems even more absurd. Because she needed experience, the USA committee decided to leave the world's most marketable athlete at home. The same athlete is now the focal point of a Nike ad that surpasses the Olympic marketing campaign as a whole. The hypocrisy was exposed live on television by Stephen A. Smith. He emphasized that corporate America was playing to win, while the Olympic Committee and the WNBA were playing politics. He observed that women's basketball gatekeepers attempted to dehumanize her. They made an effort to convince her that she wasn't unique. And what was the outcome? She gained greater notoriety, money, and power. The gatekeepers, on the other hand, appeared insensitive and nasty. In essence, Smith's confirmation is a victory lap. He is saying, "I told you that you were mishandling her." And now Nike has proven it. Since the hardware is a crucial component of this jigsaw, and what the fans are truly waiting for, let's talk about it. The hype train has officially left the station with the release of the Caitlin 1, scheduled for spring 2026. In basketball, receiving a signature sneaker is the rarest honor. Few NBA players have ever owned one. One belongs to Breanna Stewart. Caitlin Clark's launch is on a different scale than Sabrina Ionescu's. Industry analysts are comparing this to the introduction of the Air Jordan rather than a WNBA sneaker. They anticipate lines. They anticipate a boom in reselling markets. The new interlocking C logo that Nike introduced is already widely displayed on billboards and sweatshirts across the country. This is an important logo. It is positioning her as an independent brand. Jordan comes to mind when you see the Jumpman, not the Chicago Bulls. Nike wants you to think about Caitlin rather than the Indiana Fever or the Wnba when you see the interlocking C. The wedge is driven deeper by this tiny difference. Regardless of the league she plays in, she is starting to establish herself as a brand, because they need her far more than she needs them. Stephen A. Smith cautions that the Wnba is at risk from this kind of leverage. This brings up the subject of race, which Stephen A. Smith has never avoided. He has often talked about how Caitlin Clark's coverage and reception are influenced by her race. He has maintained that some of the anger stems from the fact that a white player from Iowa is being hailed as the savior of a league that has been dominated by black women for 25 years. Smith maintains that this is a private discussion, despite the fact that it is uncomfortable. This is made worse by the Nike contract, which fully supports Clark. It contributes to the myth of privilege, even when other stars may receive less publicity. But Stephen A. also points to the green to refute this. He contends that business is business. People are seated by Caitlin Clark. She is a jersey salesperson. The Wnba has never seen TV ratings as high as she does. According to Smith, rather than freezing her out, the players need to praise her for increasing the possible wage ceiling. He affirmed that while all boats are being lifted by the rising tide, charter flights, better hotels, increased media attention, the participants are more concerned with who is in charge than they are with having fun. By using Travis Scott and the Kelce brothers, the From Anywhere ad also emphasizes a significant cultural shift. Caitlin Clark is a crossover star, according to Nike. NFL fans find her appealing. Hip-hop lovers are drawn to her. Even those who have never watched a quarter of Wnba basketball will find her appealing. The pinnacle of marketing is this. For a considerable amount of time, the Wnba has marketed primarily to its current fan base. That wall was destroyed by Caitlin. According to Stephen A. Smith, she is untouchable because of her broad appeal. Basketball fans won't be the only ones to take offense if the Wnba players attempt to mistreat her or play dirty the following season. The general population will be the source of it. This timeline illustrates inevitability. So, let's have a look at how we got here. The competition for Caitlin's services was fierce once she left Iowa. She was desired by Aja Wilson. Nike understood they couldn't lose her despite Adidas's strong campaign. They witnessed the lengthy game, the shoe release delay, and the need to wait until spring 2026. Sorens was calculated. They aimed to heighten the suspense. They wished to give her rookie season more time, allow the stories to develop, allow the villains to surface so that the movie's climax would occur when they dropped the shoe. According to Stephen A., Nike performed flawlessly in the Wnba. They allowed the league to create the drama, and now Nike is marketing the corresponding stuff. The Sabrina effect is another issue. Although Sabrina Ionescu's shoe launch was a success, Caitlin's debut is reportedly being prepared with 5 times the inventory. That is astounding. Nike is wagering that, like Jordans or Dunks, the sneaker will become a staple of lifestyle apparel. She becomes ubiquitous if both boys and girls wear the Caitlin ones to the club, the mall, and school. According to Stephen A. Smith, a player is eternal in the sports world once they achieve lifestyle status. Jordan has it, LeBron has it, and Caitlin will follow. Now, what is the Wnba doing? Stephen A. Smith asked his other host that question. The league is in a difficult situation. They can't ignore her or risk losing the money, yet they can't be perceived as giving her too much preference or risk losing the locker room. Smith gave the league some very clear advice, or rather a warning. Join the group or risk being left behind. According to his prediction, the Caitlin Clark negotiations will essentially be the next TV rights negotiations. Her rights are funded by networks. The league's value would drastically decline if she were to retire tomorrow. Smith affirmed that it is true, despite the unpleasant reality, of the upcoming season is particularly intriguing because of this power dynamic. We're going to witness a league attempting to control a player who has more money than the league itself. It's a traditional power battle. Stephen A. likens it to the PGA Tour with Tiger Woods, or the early NBA with Jordan. The oddity is consistently resisted by the establishment. They detest the abnormality because it highlights their own shortcomings, but in the end, the anomaly prevails. Nike has wagered on the abnormality. The accusations of freezing out that came to light last year must also be discussed. In certain situations, it appeared as though officials were suppressing their whistles while teammates were ignoring her or opponents were using undue force to defend her. According to Stephen A. Smith, this Nike agreement will serve as a shield. The league cannot afford to let their asset to be harmed now that hundreds of millions of dollars are at stake for a business giant. Smith suggests that next year's whistle might be stricter. The league office may intervene to safeguard their investment, and the animosity in the locker room will explode if that occurs and Clark begins receiving calls from superstars. Stephen A. pointed out that the Kelce brothers' presence in the commercial is yet another brilliant move. The NFL machine, the largest sports organization in America, is represented by the Kelces. Nike subtly conveys to the audience that Caitlin Clark is a major player by linking her with them. She's not a specialized athlete. She is a star on par with Sunday Night Football. The capitalists, who want to see the sport flourish, are delighted by this, while purists who want to preserve the Wnba's uniqueness and culture are incensed. Smith is adamantly in favor of expansion, claiming that anyone who obstructs it is a threat to the future of the sport. What about the actual shoe? The interlocking C design is being commended for its simplicity and adaptability, even if we haven't seen the final colorways. Beyond appearances, however, the shoe is a symbol of possession. Equity and ownership are crucial in today's sports world. Although specifics regarding her royalties are confidential, Stephen A. surmises that she receives a sizable portion. She might be earning $10 to $15 million a year from footwear royalties alone if she is receiving a regular royalty rate on a product volume this high. That is generational wealth created every year. When Caitlin Clark enters the arena, she's essentially the CEO of a large company, and her opponents are workers vying for a contract renewal, creating an odd dynamic. According to Stephen A. Smith, it is impossible to overlook this psychological factor. It is mentally taxing to defend someone who is worth 100 times as much as you are. The aggression is altered. The motivation is altered. Some players will become smaller. Some will attempt to chop off her head. Smith affirms that, since the money is now real, the upcoming season will be the most aggressive and physical setting Clark has ever encountered. It is no longer speculative. The ads are running. The check has been cleared. Another important factor is the Nike family. Nike is incorporating Travis Scott into their Here and Entertainment section by hiring her.